Welcome to another edition of The Following On podcast. As promised yesterday, Harmy and I have brought you to the beach. It's the Ramakrishna beach, and I promise you, if you live in inner city Mumbai or Kolkata and you came here for the first place, you would think it was a place from the gods. It really is very, very charming, clean, and I must say that the last beach I went to in India was in Chennai, and it wasn't anything like this. It was a lot busier, Harmy, and less clean. It's really charming. The England Hotel is just up there. As you would expect, they got the best spot.
You've got the best spot. It is. It's lovely. First time in Vizag or Vishakhapatnam, whichever way you want to say it. And I've been to many beaches in India. None quite like this. This is Eastbourne. This is the Brighton of India. Less chaotic on the roads. It didn't take us that long to get here. People are friendly as ever. What a lovely spot Vizag is.
You've just been up in the team hotel having a chat to Jonny Bairstow, ostensibly about the captain's 100th test match, which is taking place in a couple of weeks' time, the third test of this series. But he's also got a milestone coming up. He's quite a superstitious man, isn't he? So he didn't want to talk about his own 100th. If he plays all five, then the last one in Dharamshala will be his 100th as well.
Yeah, I think history tells Jonny not to look too far ahead. But it was a good chat. He's a great kid, Jonny Bairstow, somebody who I've known for a long time. He's one of the few in this dressing room that I played with. My brief stint at Yorkshire, I think, along with him and with Joe in this group, they were part of that team which seen a very overweight former 2005, what you call hero at the time. He probably got his eyes open that it wasn't what exactly I said on the tin at that point when I was finishing my career, but I managed to get to see them in sort of 18 and 19-year-olds starting their career, and to sit there and have a chat with him, as much as he didn't really want to talk too much about his own 100th test match. It was a good conversation. Talked about the clarity of the wicketkeeper role and what he's had to do throughout the timeline of his career. Talked about, obviously, Ben fondly about being in the middle with him in Cape Town all them years ago in 2016, and what it meant to win in that first test match, and saying it was probably one of the best ever wins that an England team has had on the road. So he's a key, vital cog in the McCullum-Stokes wheel, which is got started really. It was in New Zealand, wasn't it? It was a New Zealand test match at Trent Bridge when he went out after tea. England needed 160. Ben told him to start hitting sixes and fours. England won fourth innings. Bazball started, and I think if it wasn't for Jonny Bairstow on that afternoon, Bazball might have took a little bit more time to get off the ground. But he's a wonderful lad from a great family, and our fingers crossed. I really hope he gets that 100th test match, because I think for what he's done in his career, the roles he's had to fulfil for England in his career, I think he's been quite selfless.
Well, here's Jonny reflecting on the first test and reluctantly looking ahead.
Yeah, an incredible win. It's definitely up there with our best win that we've had since Ben and Brendan have taken over. One of the best wins in English cricket history, I think it'll go down as. And yeah, what a way to start the tour.
Over the course of the game, when did Jonny Bairstow believe, actually, no, we can win this?
Look, I think that we saw the pitch deteriorating, and we saw their spinners making the ball turn as much as it did from the straight. And then as soon as you feel that that's happening, I think that then you feel that you've got a chance. You obviously need some things to go your way, especially if you're chasing 150. So when you get up to 240, you know that you're well and truly in the game, because we go bang bang on a couple of wickets like we actually did, and the pressure shifts.
Well, that was just a snippet of Jonny Bairstow having a chat to Harmy. I mean, he, apart from his choice of clothing, which was a dark tracksuit sitting in the sunshine, and he got a sweat on after about 30 seconds. He was in pretty good nick.
Yeah, he's in good nick. Fair skin, making sure that everything stays covered, not like I did yesterday and fell asleep in the sun. Just past two of my former Durham colleagues, Mr. Wood and Mr. Stokes, and give them one little bit of advice. Don't fall asleep in this sun. It's not as much as I'm just going to be sitting in the commentary box. They're going to be they're going to be hit of the battle. But no, he was on good form, was Jonny, and he's massive for this team, and fingers crossed he does have that good series. He does get to the end of the series injury intact, and make sure that he enjoys what is a wonderful place if he does get there to spend Dharamshala, to spend your 100th Test match.
I have to say that the captain has been in conspicuously good mood before the first test and during it. And for those of you who have no idea of the captain's media commitments, you'd be daunted. I mean, he works for over 2 hours in the build-up to a test match. In fact, he does 2 days of media build-up, but he's had a smile on his face, and it isn't just because of the win. He genuinely seems in really good spirits. Here he is.
Ben Stokes, you get to go all around the world playing in some incredible stadiums. Can we start just by this place first of all? It's got a real Caribbean flavour to it. I've got a really good vibe about this place.
Yeah, it is nice. I'd obviously played here before. Couldn't quite remember it until we walked in yesterday. But yeah, I think when you get grounds like this, it's the stand's sort of like straight up, and it's almost like a like a Coliseum kind of vibe to it. So yeah, no, it's a beautiful ground, and yeah, looking forward to getting going tomorrow.
Now, you've just been and had a look at the wicket with your vice-captain and your coach. What can you tell us about it? Because every time we go near it, they pull the cover straight back across and don't let us see anything.
Yeah, it was just sort of a little bit different to last week. Hence we had a good look yesterday and then a good look today, just to sort of see what a day's difference had done. And it was a little bit drier than yesterday. But yeah, only time will tell how this wicket ends up playing.
So you have just had a chat with your coach and your vice-captain. Does that mean you're now in a position to confirm the 11 for the team?
Yeah, so we bringing Jimmy in for Woody, and obviously the one force changed with Leach's injury. So yeah, we get to have another debutant this week with Shoaib Bashir coming in. And also nice on that, it will be the 100th person to play Test cricket since Jimmy made his debut as well. So yeah, that's a lot of people.
Oh, that's aged him horribly, hasn't it, that? Why Bash?
Well, look, forced change. Leachy was injured, and we wanted to play 3 spinners, and Bash was the spinner he missed out last week for obvious reasons. So, yeah, 1 out, 1 in.
Lows to high in this case, isn't it? Obviously, as you say, missing out for no fault of his own for the first. I mean, that really is sort of the professional sporting life encompassed in about 7 days.
Yeah, I mean, gosh. Sport is full of ups and downs, not only on the field but also off the field. And Bash coming in back into the squad last week to see us win that game was obviously a great time for him to come back, and now he finds himself making his debut for England this week. So yeah, from one extreme to the other for him.
Looking at India, obviously they're going to have to make a couple of changes with the injuries to their squad. I mean, if you go back 2 weeks, it now means that they've lost Virat, KL Rahul and Jadeja. Taken a huge amount of experience out, but 3 guys coming in who potentially might be chomping at the bit to get their go that they wouldn't potentially have otherwise got.
Yeah, obviously a big miss for India, losing those 3 guys. Obviously Jadeja and KL from last week. But look, India's just got so many quality cricketers that, when they find themselves in a situation like this, they've got, as I said, just some high quality players to be able to pick from and make a very, very strong 11 wherever they are in the world. So yeah, look, we can't read too much into that. Losing some experienced players won't change our sort of ambition or our drive to go out there and win this game, because you never take any opposition lightly, and in particular India.
Those 3 all played against the Lions in their recent games, so how much flow of information between the Lions and this group has there been, or is it a case that actually you've done so much prep anyway, does it make much of a difference?
Look, everyone's got their own way of sort of preparing for games. We've got all the information available to us for whatever we want. Me in particular and the team sort of really try and put as much focus as they possibly can on themselves. But look, yeah, it'd be naive to not look at all the footage that we've obviously got on these new players who could potentially come in and make the replacements for India.
When we spoke in Hyderabad after the game, you were very keen to say this is 1 out of 5. Has that been, if you like, the rallying call this week, that yeah, great, we're 1-0 up, but there's still 4 to come? Or is that just so obvious you don't need to?
Yeah, I think it's just so obvious that we just don't need to. I think that's where this team is. They understand, where we are. Yes, we've gone 1-0 up. We know that India are going to come back hard. But yeah, look, last week's gone. Great week. But I think we're again, just a team that were able to stay very level through highs and through lows.
That's England captain Ben Stokes confirming the England team for the second Test match, and he had a cheeky smile on his face, Harmy, as he announced it. He just loves to do things differently, doesn't he? He loves to challenge our perceptions, and when he said a second debutant spinner, he's just so chuffed.
A second debutant spinner, and why wouldn't you pick a second debutant spinner? Every time he seems to pick a debutant, they get 5 wickets for him. So I'm really pleased for young Bashir. He looks a bit nervous as he's walking out there, but it's fantastic. It really is a breath of fresh air. We've seen this team just completely go against the grain. I fell victim of that from an understanding point of view of the game now, and you see what happened in the West Indies. You know, with Joseph coming in after 5 first-class matches, goes and makes his debut in Australia and knocks Australia over. So why can't Shoaib Bashir come here? You know, there's been talk about Stokes, how he's seen him bowling at Sir Alistair Cook on Twitter, and obviously with Jack Leach going out, I think the three spinners he seems to be the right call for Ben. We haven't seen much of the wicket, which suggests that the groundsman thinks it's too dry to start with. So all in all, I think the Anderson one for Wood, I think that was always going to happen. Natural call, just make sure the rest and rotation to give Jimmy a chance. Spoke to Woody for a second ago, he was fine. He said, I'm good to go, but he understands why Jimmy's come in. Jimmy's one of the greatest of all, he's the greatest of all time. So I think all in all, I'm quite happy with the England team. Great to see Bashir, and hopefully he can calm down in the next 24 hours to enjoy what is going to be a memorable Test debut with a man next to him who's, I think, 22 years older and 100 players who have been capped by England more. That's just you just let that digest for a second. There's 100 people made their debut after Jimmy Anderson. That's testament to the great man because of longevity, his discipline, and everything that has to come. To play at 41 and have 100 people shake 100 people's hand to say congratulations, good luck on your debut. Wow, it's just it is mind blowing.
It is mind boggling, and ordinarily a 20-year-old off spinner making his Test debut would feel the pressure of the world on his shoulders, but not in this team. Ben Stokes will tell him it doesn't matter what happens, it doesn't matter, you just relax, you're here on merit. But Chetan Narula is also here on merit, part of our commentary team. Now, as settled as England team is, and they've made this habit of announcing the team the day before a Test match, it's been a while since I can recall an Indian team quite so unsettled. They brought 4 new players in, and when I asked you to give me your provisional team a while ago, there were 13 in it.
Well, you know what? There will be at least one debutant in the Indian team as well, so I'm assuming they'll bring in a batter. But look, they have to replace quite a few players, don't they? I mean, Ravindra Jadeja counts as 2 players, or maybe 2.5, given he feels like a bullet as well. So they'll have to bring in 2 players to replace Jadeja. Is it going to be a spinner and a bowling all-rounder, or a spinner and a batter? It'll depend on the combination that India wants to play. Will they go in with just the one pacer and the rest of them the spinners? I mean, that pitch behind us, that holds the key to it, doesn't it? It's still under covers, nobody's taken a look at it. And I'm assuming that one of Rajat Patidar or Sarfaraz Khan will get a Test debut, or could be both of them as well, because India would want to strengthen their batting lineup as well, because after Rohit Sharma, there's not a lot of experience in there. I mean, you go all the way down to Ravichandran Ashwin at probably number 7, because Jadeja is not there. So Rohit and Ashwin, and in between, not a lot of experience there.
Chetan, you mentioned Rohit. I'm intrigued by this whole Rohit last week.
Yeah.
Doesn't do the media after the game, doesn't do the media before the game. Rahul Dravid did the media after the game. It just seems as though this Indian team is so insular, not interested in what anybody else says outside the world. And I know one of my former captains was very critical of the way Rohit Sharma went about that second innings. I've been very critical because I think the ego side of Rohit just thought, right, 190 in front, Ben Duckett will chip one up in the air, Ollie Pope will chip one up in the air. He didn't have a very good game as captain. How do you see that changing? Because he's actually under even more pressure now to be more proactive like Ben Stokes is, because he hasn't got Jadeja. He hasn't got the experience of KL Rahul alongside him. He's going to have debutants in the team, but also a more inexperienced bowling lineup.
Well, first of all, having been part of the Indian media contingent for a while now, I'm quite used to it, with the captain not coming for the press conferences. we take what we get.
Yeah.
You know, we take what we get. That's the easiest way to put it. But look, the captaincy was very ordinary. India's planning was really ordinary as well, and we've talked about it in the previous Test match that India were perhaps hit a bit too hard by Bazball, and they were not ready. They were not really expecting anything. They didn't know what to expect really, and then prepare accordingly. I think they would have liked to prepare better now, especially in terms of their field placements. With the reverse sweep coming out, it's going to be their go-to shot again for the English batters. I think they have to be a little more proactive. Rohit Sharma, even if he doesn't come for the press conferences, he needs to be more proactive with his fielding changes and his field placements. But it's the body language and the messaging that they are really sending out, which tells me that not much has changed. They don't think the world of that defeat they suffered in Hyderabad. I mean, batting coach Vikram Rathore just saying that visiting teams have a right to win Test matches in India. I'm not sure how much the Indian cricket fans are liking that sentence.
They don't do it very often.
Yeah.
But you pick up on the body language. I seen a team walk off that field with a body language of not really trusting the captain, not really being as one. And I think the captain lost his team, and that's a big thing to say, and that is a strong thing to say. And I know I'm quite good at put my foot in things sometimes, but I thought Rohit Sharma lost his team the other day, and that for me would concern me more than anything when it reverse sweep, game plan, or body language. If your captain loses the trust of the bowling unit, then wow, then he is struggling.
I think obviously that's a big statement to make, Harmy, and I think you have the stature to make that. But you know, in Indian cricket, things work differently. Not just the height, there's the stature as well.
I was thinking the belly.
No, I'm talking the Test wickets you have. Look, I think in Indian cricket things work a little differently. The personality that Rohit Sharma has, it's a bit nonchalant. He's not perturbed by things like coming and talking to the media or defeats. I think what the Indian think tank is thinking right now is, okay, we lost it. It's gone. It's done in the past. We have learned our lessons from it. I'm hoping they have learned them, and then move ahead from them. The fact that you say that maybe he's lost the team, I think we'll see that in this Test match. If nothing changes from Hyderabad, if they are still trying to make things work the way they were trying to make them work in Hyderabad, then yes, then that's a big question mark on Rohit Sharma's captaincy and India's future in Test cricket.
It wasn't so much the team as the bowling attack. I thought
yes,
you lost the bowling
absolutely.
attack, and that's how you win games. You win games with 20 wickets.
Yeah.
And I just got the sense that the bowling attack wasn't in sync with the captain.
Okay, just as a final thought, if a month ago a fortune teller, a crystal ball gazer, had come to you and said, England will be 1-0 up and India will be under great pressure to avoid going 2-0 down at this stage, what would you have said to them?
I would have said only in Ben Stokes' world. Only in Ben Stokes' world. Yeah, do you know what I mean? Only in Ben Stokes' world. Anything is possible. Like they've said many times before. You can talk about the things that have been happening over the course of the last 150 years you've been involved in cricket, and cricket's history has been on. But they've not seen anything that this McCullum Stokes mentality has got, and I think that is why they're in the position they're in.
You would have laughed in the face with the crystal ball gazer, wouldn't you?
Let me just say that until Virat Kohli pulled out, nobody even thought that England could win a Test match in this series.
You went 5-0, didn't you?
I went 5-0.
I went 4-1.
I went 4-1.
And that's what happened. Happens. I mean, we get egg on our faces, and England have put egg on a lot of faces. So until Virat Kohli pulled out, nobody even entertained the thought that England could win a game on this tour. So now it's a chance for them to go 2-0 up.
Right, well, the next time we talk to you will be after the first day's play. This is The Following on Pod.